Welcome everyone to the Squared Circle podcast. I've got an echo. This is a good start.
Hello.
Hello.
Have I got an echo?
You haven't got an echo. I haven't got an echo now.
No.
That's weird.
Welcome everyone.
Wow, that's what it is. Welcome everyone to the Squared Circle podcast. Really professional way to kick off the show, isn't it? You wouldn't expect anything different from us here at TSC. Andy Evans here, of course, coming to you from what I would love to say would be a very sunny Weymouth. However, it's absolutely raining cats and dogs down here, and my builders who are building my extension at the back of the house are wanting to murder God because of the fact that we're now running about 2 weeks behind. But hey, enough of that. Joining me, as always, is my tag team partner, also coming to you from Weymouth in Dorset. It is the owner of Pro Wrestling Dorset itself. That's a lot of Dorsets to get in one intro. It's Sam Mellows. How you doing, my old friend? How you doing, Sam? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I am the self-professed dogfather of professional wrestling, especially professional wrestling podcasting. But yeah, no, I'm really, really good. Had a really good week. I can tell more in the future. Big news coming along. But yeah, I'm really, really good. I'm buzzing for life. So absolutely buzzing to do this week's show. We're going to be talking about great subjects. So let's start.
Great subjects indeed. We've got a jam-packed show coming up this week on TSC Podcast. We are going to be looking at the road to 5-star. What better event to do than NXT's Great American Bash that took place this past weekend? We're then going to be opening the event center again, this time going into preview, because SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, goes down live on the WWE Network here internationally or on Peacock in the US. We're going to be giving you the full preview, plus previewing 2 matches that haven't been announced. We're just going to try and cover all bases because you never know with WWE what might happen. So we're going to preview them as well. Who knows? As well as that, we've got the News Round, which is the brand new name for Newsline. And I'm going to be stepping up to the challenge because apparently Sam has got a Who Am I? Oh, God. It can't be any worse than the last one.
It's not
we're
that
going to
hard.
do that. Hopefully not. We've also got Rewind coming back and a whole lot of other things. So it's a massive show. Now, before we kick off, I do want to address one thing. As you can see on screen, it's just myself and Sam. We had no show last week, apart from an NXT preview. That was due to various different reasons. One of them being technical. Sky Fiber to the property let me down. So we couldn't go live at that point. We were trying to. But I do want to address one thing. As you can see on screen, it's just myself and Sam. The last few weeks have obviously been a bit of a tumultuous time for TSC. We've been going through a lot of changes, bringing new people on, changing format, changing structure. And as part of that, Stefan has decided to step away from the show. Effective immediately. So, on behalf of myself and Sam, I want to thank Stefan for the last year being a part of the relaunch of TSC. We're now just over a year old. That's gone really fast. And, I wish him well in his future endeavors going forward. I think he's had a pretty tough time with, stepping away from professional wrestling entirely. So I wish him well, and hopefully, if he wants to come back on at some point in the future, we can. But as of now, Stefan has decided to leave. Sam and I will be taking the banner, taking the mantle of TSC moving forward with some guests over the next few weeks. So we're going to have some of the PWD team going to be coming on, but predominantly it will be Sam and I. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about very quickly before we move into News Round is you might be wondering why we're not live. Well, we've changed the format of the show and we're not going to be going live now every week. There may be occasions where we do a special live edition. Like say we got a guest, right? We might do a live show with a guest. Or if there's something really going on like WrestleMania, we might do a live event. But for the majority, we will be pre-recorded, available on YouTube and on audio. You're not going to know any difference. It's just going to be, we won't be live. And that's purely for our diaries. Both Sam's diary and my diary has got really manic over the last few weeks. So to give you the best quality product, we've made the decision to move away from the live. And that's it. That's all we've really got to say about that, haven't we?
Yeah, another little thing. is that soon we are going to be having AEW All In live at Wembley. And these two little podcast hosters are going to be sat next to each other watching All In. And you never
Well,
know what might happen. We may go live on Instagram. Who knows?
we
We might try and go live on X, if that's a thing.
we can actually do more than that because we're on. I haven't talked to you about this yet, but we're on a new streaming platform that I can actually stream off my mobile. So we might be doing live streaming on YouTube from Wembley Arena for All In. And actually, while we're talking about All In, as we said, both of us are going to be there. So if anybody from TSC who listens to the show wants to come and meet Sam, myself, or the godfather of podcasting radio, Lee Tyers, then come and meet us because we will be at Wembley. Come and say hello and
Probably,
we'll have a chat.
probably getting ourselves a cheeky burger at the old box park prior to the thing. Might be buying a t-shirt. Who knows? We're gonna have a great time. We want to meet you guys. We want to meet the people who listen to us. We don't
Yeah.
want to be just having you guys listen to us and we then see your comments and that lot on social media. We want to actually meet you. It'd be great to have a picture of you, stuff like that. It'd be amazing. It's really nice to meet the fans, meet the listeners. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So that's it. We're putting it out there. All In meetup, August 27th at Wembley. There is an amazing all-you-can-eat food restaurant at Box Park. Never know. Never know. Right. Shall we do it? Shall we get to the news round? Let's kick it off. If I can find the video, because there's a whole new software. Let's go right now. Ah, new intros. And the music on this software actually seems less loud than it was on the previous one. So it hasn't blown my head off. Right, kicking off with the top headlines from this past week in professional wrestling. But before we do that, we do need to send some condolences because this week we have lost two legends, either in the world of professional wrestling or associated with the world of professional wrestling. Exotic Adrian Street passed away on the 24th of July. And only in the last couple of days has Paul Rubens, otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman, passed away. And he passed away on the 30th of July of this year. So, you know, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, you might be wondering why is he associated with professional wrestling? He's made various appearances on WWE over the years. And really shocked me about this guy because the outpouring of people's affection for Paul Rubens has been amazing. Kind of looking at it on social media and looking at it on X and Threads, and I can't get used to calling it X. Looking at it on all of those platforms and how much people, not just in the wrestling community, but in the entertainment industry, really have struggled with this loss.
He's loved by many people, and I've read a lot up about it. But I've also been a fan. I've always thought Pee Wee Herman was a brilliant character. Who doesn't love a character like that? He's like the American, even more ramped up version of Mr. Bean. So what's not to love? Plus, also he spoke. But the other thing with Paul Rubin is the fact that when we went through the very interesting stage of Raw where we had guest hosts every week. He was on it, and there was the time that it was him and Big Show was. So Big Show was the not so Pee Wee Herman, who was his long lost cousin or brother or something like that. And the following weeks, he still turned up. He turned up to Raw and was backstage, being with people, going through stuff. He was like that. Productions of films, and he wasn't even linked to, but he knew cast members. He'd be around because he's got a love for the business. The entertainment business, I know it's a wrestling business. It always will be for us to a wrestling business, but it is also an entertainment business. And to lose him is such a great loss. And it's just so sad.
Do you know, I was doing some research on Paul Rubens, and we will talk about Adrian Street in just a moment. But I was doing some research on him, and I was looking at some posts. And do you know why the Pee Wee Herman character was actually created?
No, it didn't. That's one thing I haven't seen about.
Okay, so it was created because Paul Rubens couldn't remember jokes.
Oh wow!
So by creating the character, if it went wrong, he could cover it via the Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could remember lines, but he could not remember a joke. And there was a Netflix special that someone put a clip on social media of, where he was explaining that. And actually, to do the jokes for the Netflix special, they said he could write them down and have them on paper, so he could read them off.
Amazing.
You know,
Amazing.
so you think about a comedian that the punchline is remembering a joke, right? And you
Yeah.
can't remember a joke, but you become one of the most successful entertainers, comedians in entertainment history. So, yeah, massive loss to the entertainment industry, to Paul Rubens. Um, Exotic Adrian Street also passed away. I mean, he is a true wrestling legend, and the whole industry has kind of paid their respects to him. Everyone from Triple H through to Nick Aldis through to WWE. This year is, I think you put it in our WhatsApp chat, is pretty much turning into 2016 when you look at the amount of wrestling bereavements that we're having. You know, everyone from
Yeah.
the Iron Sheik, Exotic Street. It's going to make you ask the question, who's next?
Yeah. Oh, I beg to think who would be the next one. I don't want there to be any next one. Please just give us
No.
some years off. We've lost some absolute legends. But Adrian Street, I didn't actually get to meet him, but I was at the same event that he was at, and such from all that I heard from other people was such a gentleman, such a nice guy, and just seeing the things that other wrestlers have said about him and put out their love and like affection about him, it's heartbreaking seeing like the stories they tell. Like Drew McIntyre, he talks about how like the times with him. Nick Aldis talks about it. Just all these different wrestlers, different performers, different managers from England to America to different parts of the world who loved this guy. Yeah, he broke the mold. If it,
Mm.
one of my friends on one of my WhatsApp groups, he said if it wasn't for people like Adrian Street, and if not Adrian Street himself, we wouldn't have had Gold Dust.
No, he was so far ahead of his time, and we all said Goldust was a groundbreaking character.
Yeah, and also like Sunny Kiss, or like just all of that style character, all stuff like that. If it wasn't for, it just blows my mind how much
Mm.
someone. It's proof that someone could do one little drop in an ocean and make such massive waves, almost tidal, like
Yeah.
tsunami style waves, and he was one of them. Like, oh, it's another UK wrestling god gone, and it's just they've gone up to the pearly gates in the sky to join the immortal WrestleMania. So
And what a WrestleMania that is. I mean, you've got the celebrity wing there with Paul Rubens, and you've got one of the main eventers there in Exotic Adrian Street. Anyway, let's move it on. Our condolences to the friends and family of both Paul Rubens and Exotic Adrian Street. But let's give some good news, because it was announced this past week that for the first time in 8 years, Impact Wrestling is returning to this side of the Atlantic. They're going to be running 3 dates. It's the first UK tour since, well, 8 years ago. I can't work out the maths. I'm 42 and not very good. October the 26th, they're going to be at the O2 Academy in Glasgow. October the 27th, they're going to be at the Walker Activity Dome in Newcastle upon Tyne. And October the 28th, they're going to be at the HMV Empire in Coventry. And Scott D'Amore has said that we're all so excited to come back to the UK with these action-packed shows. The British fans have always been amongst our most loyal and passionate supporters and have been yearning for Impact's return for many years now. What makes this tour even more special is that there are many stars on the Impact roster who these wonderful fans will now have the chance to see live and in person for the first time ever. That's a point. Let's hold that point for a second. Tickets for all three shows will go on sale this Friday at impactwrestling.com, and ticket prices start at just £35. The 2023 UK Invasion will feature Impact World Champion Alex Shelley, Moose, Eddie Edwards, Deonna Purrazzo, Kazarian, Brian Myers, ABC, and hometown hero Joe Henry, amongst others. Impact officials have also confirmed the tour will feature former Impact superstar and Scottish wrestling hero. What was that? That was a really bad Scottish accent. Star of the hit TV show Scott Squad and Two Doors Down, Grado.
it's yourself. Oh,
Oh no.
Such a nice guy. Literally such a nice guy. When ICW came to Bournemouth, I got the delight to be able to talk to Grado after the show. He slated me for having a Black Labels t-shirt, which was the tag team of Bram, Thomas Latimer, and then Drew Galloway at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you should be wearing my one-on-ones." But then we had a really nice chat. Such a nice guy, and completely down to earth. It's so brilliant, especially when he's thinking. And there's an embarrassing video that one of my friends did. He came down to the ring, went round the ring, and obviously his entrance theme tune is "Life's a Mystery" by Madonna. Life is a mystery. I'm not going to ruin
Please
that.
don't. Please don't.
No.
No.
But so we're all singing along, and he brings down the mic, and he got to me, and I just knew the words because I'm a sado. And he just put his arm around me. I sung along, and afterwards he recommended me for that, and we had a great chat. So yeah, and just to see the fact that he's back, amazing, because he loves TNA Impact. He's just amazing. And Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. So yeah, I can't wait to see him live.
Oh my god! You know what? Impact Wrestling UK tours were some of the best shows that I went to back in the day. I mean, when from the original TSC through to the Total Wrestling Show, Ministry of Slam, I was lucky enough to go to 90% of those tours thanks to Impact Wrestling. And I remember one time being at Wembley Arena. There's a photo of it where Dixie was walking around the arena, and she held the Impact. For some reason, it was the Impact Tag Team title. I never understood why she didn't bring out the world title, but anyway, I had a photo with Dixie. The last tour that I went to, I got invited backstage. So went backstage, met Serge, who's Dixie's husband, who was also the lead music composer for Impact at that point, had a chat with him, and then literally walked into the back and walked straight past Samoa Joe, rubbed shoulders with him, said hi,
Amazing.
saw the Hulkster, said hello to Hogan. Hogan went, brother, and walked that way, and then walked to the entrance ramp at Wembley Arena. Not Wembley Arena, the SSE,
Yeah.
and looked
Well,
outside.
it'll be arena because it's the stadium.
Oh, stadium, of course it is, Wembley Arena, yeah.
Stadium is
Look,
what we're going to AEW at, and then it was the arena. Oh, amazing.
all right. And then looked down the entrance ramp, nobody in the arena at that point,
Wow.
and just seeing the squared circle. I mean, that is just a moment that you'll never forget. But anyway, I can't wait. Impact UK Invasion Tour tickets on sale this Friday, the 4th of August, starting at £35. What show are you going to? Are you going to be going to Impact? Let us know, and if we can get to one of the shows, we will try, and then we will try and arrange a meetup. But Impact Wrestling coming back to the UK, cannot wait. Okay, moving on. This week, as we know, is SummerSlam 2023, and there's a main event taking place. And that main event is Jey Uso facing off against Roman Reigns. We're going to preview it later on. But Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, who has been all over the news this week, thanks to the release of the amazing documentary on Peacock, was asked about how he feels about Jey potentially defeating Roman Reigns. He goes, I think whoever is in the position who pins Roman and leaves with a WWE championship, it's almost a moment that I can't tell you how I will feel, or I can't tell you how that will look until we see it. Because I think it's just starting to dawn on people how significant it could be. If that is Jey Uso, hats off to him, amazing. Not a shred of jealousy in my body. That is as pure and good a man as you can find. You got to be sat there thinking, oh, I want it to be me. Where am I? I'm facing Brock Lesnar for the 3rd time. We'll talk about the main event when we get to SummerSlam, but he's right in a way, isn't he?
Yeah. There's that line about how he is so pure. Like the stories of Jey backstage are wonderful. When you hear about a guy who doesn't just work for himself, he works for everyone else. He'll happily have a stonk of a match in the square circle, be absolutely cream crackered, go backstage, sat at Gorilla talking through someone's match. The stories go on and on and on. The amount of wrestlers who say how that guy makes sure people leave the arena are all okay. How if people are like injured and he's not anything linked to them story wise, well, who cares? He'll make sure he gets in that they get in that ambulance okay. The stories go on and on. So I wonder why there's that line. That is as pure and good as man as you can find. It's true. Like, and so well deserving. Like, no, but I think the Usos are superb. Like they are, for me, joint with FTR being one of the best, the two of the best tag teams of all time. They're not the best. For me, that's the Brainbusters. That will never be changed. But I've always thought that. But those two tag teams are superb. And the Usos, I know they're twins. I know they're brothers. But by God, it's brilliant that they have their different traits. They have their different ways. And that's helped them along the way. If they were completely the same, like other twin tag teams in the WWE history, not saying any names, Bellas, that they are different in their own way. And that's so wonderful because then you have these moments that it doesn't feel like, oh, Jimmy's being left behind, because that's the way that Jay, and we'll talk about Jay more later on, but I believe the whole line that he doesn't have one shred of a jealousy, because I don't think he does. I think, if anything, he's proud for a friend. He's proud that someone is able to do what he hasn't. And yeah, I know you say about the whole fact of Cody against Brock for the third time. We'll talk about that more later on. But it's a factor of, I truly believe it's that factor of, yeah, it should have been me type of moment. But now he's realised, okay, it's not me. Who is it? Could it be Jay? It could be. And who deserves it better than Jay? So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting because I mentioned the documentary earlier on. Now, I know you haven't seen it yet. I've watched it. I've been lucky enough to see the documentary.
Watching it tomorrow night.
It is. It's one of the best WWE produced documentaries I think they've done. I mean, it's tremendous. Really is tremendous. And the way they cover AEW as well is quite controversial. Yeah, it's a secondary promotion. But the reason that I'm talking about the documentary is at the end of it they do the bloopers with the cutscene with the credits, and there's a moment where someone is wearing an Usos t-shirt, and Cody Rhodes calls him out and says, "You're fired." But it's very funny to watch it. So you need to watch the documentary if you haven't seen it. Find it. It is available by nefarious means, but it is available to watch it. Really good documentary. Right, moving on to a bit of All Elite news now, and we're going to go with the DMD for a couple of news stories because Britt Baker's been quite outspoken over the past week. Do you remember last week on Dynamite? There was a sign that was quite visible on camera called "Book the Women's Division Better." Well, not only do the fans agree, but Britt Baker agrees that the women in AEW could be booked better. Adding, I can't speak this morning, adding that a number of factors have derailed certain storylines. But she also states that sometimes fans online have nothing but negative to say about the women, which doesn't make them feel supported either. She went, I see both sides to that because I completely agree. The absolute best matches that come out of professional wrestling come out of storylines that you are so invested in. There are weeks and months that tell this beautiful story. It's something we haven't been able to invest as much time in the women's division lately. Again, there are many factors, injuries, this and that. I definitely want to get to the point where we can get some solid storytelling with the women. At the same time, for the fans who hold signs that say to book the women's division better, that's great. Then when I go on Twitter, it doesn't echo that. I don't see the same support. I hate these two wrestlers. This match was too long. This match was too short. If all you see about women's wrestling is negative, it doesn't add up to what they are preaching. If you want the women to be booked better, then support the women. And I totally agree with that because Saraya has even gone out this past week on Twitter as part of a X, as part of an X chat, saying that she thinks All In could have two women's matches in prominent positions. What's your take on it?
So I completely agree with that sign. I'd happily hold that sign up myself. I think both in AEW and WWE, book the women's division better. But I agree with what Britt's saying about Twitter. I go, sorry, X. Sorry, X, not Twitter. It's gonna get some used to, isn't it? But with that is that I go on there a lot of times for two different accounts I have, and I don't see people going, "Oh, wasn't that match amazing? Chris Statlander or Jade Cargill, they're amazing." It's that match was too long, or all this. No, I want to see your actual true feelings, people, not the trying to go with the mold, or one person puts comments and then you agree with them. No, don't agree. Don't be that guy, because it's predominantly guys. But the problem is, I've also recently seen on Twitter females like put down female wrestling. It's like, these women are trying to give you guys a good name, and you're the ones who poo-pooing it. It's so sad. I will be so pleased if we leave Wembley on the 27th of August for, did we tell you that we're going to All In? But when we leave that stadium and we're chatting about it, I can't wait to discussing the women's matches, because I really hope there's quite a few of them, because they deserve them. Like, at the moment, I am left to think, what's going to go on with this match, or what's going to go on that match. But we'll talk more about that when we talk about All In, that we're going to on August 27th. There is a meetup. I'm going to keep on plugging this every week, because why not? I'm really excited, if you can tell. But no, my other thing with women's wrestling, and I've talked about this on previous shows, is that some of the female wrestlers have worked tooth and nail to put this division both in AEW or WWE or Impact. Impact is a proof of like how they are backing the female roster.
They always have done, though.
Always will. Like, I also love the fact they call them knockouts. They don't call them divas or ladies or women's, because it's just because they do knock out. Like, they're not. Well, they do. Some of the women are harder hitting in Impact than AEW or WWE have ever been. Britt Baker is one of the hardest hitting. Like, for me, my dream, I dream to watch Charlotte Flair versus Britt Baker one day. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but by golly gosh, that'd be amazing.
It would be an amazing match, and I think Britt Baker is someone that, whether you love her or whether you hate her, because she seems to be a polarizing figure. There are some people that think she's absolutely amazing. There's other people who think she's only where she is because she's Adam Cole's girlfriend. But let's be honest, she's an AEW original.
She's Adam Cole, baby.
Oh,
sorry. No.
Yeah, this is why he's on the show now, people. Yeah, this is why he's on the show.
I also hate when people say that she, just because she's Adam Cole's darling, that's the only reason why she's on the show, because actually she was there before him. So if anything, that's how he got on the show, was because of her.
That's what I was just trying to get at. She's an AEW original that's come in. She's one that she was part of the original All In event, taking place August 27th at Wembley. We're there. She was part of the original All In. She's really worked her way to be the standout performer of that women's division. And they haven't had to rely on people like Saraya coming in, or Tony Storm coming in. You know, back in the day, it was Rio. It was Jamie Hayter who's been developed up to be a main eventer. Rebel seems to have just disappeared. You know, the Bunny, I think, is a shame, because Ali is a really good performer in Impact. Yeah. And she could have done a lot more. You've now got Taya Valkyrie. You've got Chris Statlander, like you've said. Anna Jay. Tay Mello, Jade Cargill, who may or may not be back, who knows. Kira Hogan's in the division. You've got Abaddon, you've got Nyla Rose, you've got so many different women that can make an impact in All Elite. Now, the one thing, and
also we have also got Mercedes Martinez, and she is someone not to be forgot.
Hannah, how could I forget Willow Nightingale?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And also Julia Hart.
Oh, we'll touch on Julia Hart in a second. Just keep that in mind. So the women are absolutely amazing. Now, you bear in mind, a couple of years ago when the NWA and Mickie James did that women's only pay-per-view, which I can't remember the name of it now, right? Empower, NWA Empower. What I would give for Impact, AEW, and New Japan / Stardom to do a women's only Forbidden Door style pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, right? It's money.
Well, look,
Taya Valkyrie already knows most of the Impact
yeah,
roster anyway. Saraya,
WWE WWE had the Evolution
yeah.
pay-per-view a few years back. It did amazing on ratings. It was so good, in my view. I know some people may disagree, but I loved it. Why? Because the women got a time to actually show how good they are. Even the ones that I'm not the biggest fans of for their own different reasons,
Mm,
but the ones who are just people deserve. Like, no wonder why Trinity Fatu wanted to go to Impact, because all of that. Oh, I
but
just
I tell
can't.
you what, it's nice that she went to Impact and didn't go to New Japan or All Elite. Not that we're trying to diss those other promotions,
No,
but because what she's doing is she's gone to a promotion where she's recognizing the women's talent. I mean, they got Mickey James in there, they got Deonna Purrazzo. You know, they've got some really talented up and comers, like Scott Demore said in our first story, that you've never seen before
yeah.
coming to the
Well,
UK, right?
just
And
look at the
these are
fact that,
first time matchups.
yeah. Well, you look at it. Look at Impact, for example. You have got the tag team titles of, and the men's is Subculture. Part of
Yes.
Subculture is Danny Luna, and oh my god, she is amazing. She's British, but she is also linking into these matches, and just the women's tag team titles right now, like MK Ultra, just amazing, and just a
But
great tag team. And
it,
I totally agree. If they did a women's Forbidden Door between those companies, amazing. And especially as right now, Deonna Purrazzo put a thing out saying that she wants to, at this multiverse
mm,
thing show that they do between Impact and New Japan and Stardom, she's like, bring your best person. I love that.
well,
I,
you would finally get the match that we've all been waiting for: Deonna Purrazzo versus Britt Baker. That's the one that everybody wants to see, and Saraya Mercedes Moné.
oh my god, yeah, yes, please.
You know,
And Trinity versus Willow Nightingale.
oh yeah, that would be cool. The
That
Battle of the
would
Glow.
be superb.
That would be amazing. Right, staying with Britt Baker and staying with All In, one of the things that has been talked about quite a lot over the past few weeks is, has there been a roster split within All Elite Wrestling thanks to Collision? If you speak to CM Punk, it's quite clear that there is, because I'm a Collision guy. I quite like that t-shirt.
I did
Um,
that, yeah.
yeah, it was quite funny. Now, speaking on the Not Just Football podcast with Cam Hayward, Britt Baker discussed the introduction of Collision and how it has helped to give more screen time to those on the roster. She said, it's awesome because it gives more people TV time. We've such a huge roster and we have the best wrestlers in the world, but there's like 20 of them. There's so many. So it's great to give people a split. For us, we're still getting used to it because we don't know what show we're going to be on yet that week. It's not like a hard brand split. It's not like Raw. It's not like SmackDown. I don't know what the plan for that is. If that's going to be in the future, but it's awesome. We've only been on TV for 3 or 4 years now, and we already have 3 TV shows. Like the network wanted another show, so that's awesome. And we were all concerned about Collision coming in, but Collision, I think we said it a couple of weeks ago in the State of Wrestling address, has been the top wrestling show since debuting just 6 weeks ago.
Like, do you know what I honestly feel like? I was worried, excuse the pun, but I was worried it was going to cause a collision and there was going to be issues, but it didn't. It's superb. Like, I'm sorry to be the pun. I'm so like I'm so about the puns, but honestly, this whole brand split thing, I get what people say, like, oh look, is it that? And obviously, Punk, I'm a Collision guy. But it's interesting when she says about, like, we just don't know what we're going to be on.
Mm.
I have this lovely feeling that, like, Tony Khan sends a group text or WhatsApp out to every single wrestler going, right, guys, so on Wednesday for Dynamite, we have the House of Black. Oh, guys, on Friday on Rampage, we have the tag team of FTR. And then on Saturday on Collision, we have everyone. I just love this idea that he puts out onto a group WhatsApp. Like, it's obviously not, it's done in a completely different way, but I love that fact of we don't know what show we're going to be on. I love that because then it doesn't make you feel like, oh, I have to wait till next Saturday to see Britt Baker again.
Yeah.
Like, all that I love the brand splits, I love SmackDown, I love Raw, but sometimes I'm like, I want to see Roman Reigns every week. I want it on every show, or I want to watch LA Knight, on every single match because on every show. But he's not. Sometimes they do the soft like factor of like, oh, we got a SmackDown guy on Raw or Raw on SmackDown. But I like the factor with AEW. It's completely different. It gives that fresh feel that, oh, actually, we've got something completely different. And especially with a roster so broad and so many different styles, and the fact, especially now we've got rid of Dark and Dark Evolution, the fact that we have these 3 shows, I was really worried. I was like, oh my God, we're going to get 3 shows at 1 week. It's going to be too much. The only thing I changed, one thing I changed, I feel like having Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I feel like it needs to be spread out. I always feel like it needs to be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Problem with Sunday is that would be the issue going into the pay-per-views.
Yeah, and also American football, and then also the big games for basketball, and also baseball. Like that's I get, but that's my only issue. I feel like sometimes why we've got literally one night after the other. But then also that sometimes works because it's like, right, we've had a collision on Friday on Rampage. We're like, right, tomorrow night I want you in that ring. I want you tomorrow. I'm not waiting to next week. I'm not waiting to next Wednesday. I'm not waiting to next Friday. I'm waiting to tomorrow night. Me, you, that squared circle. Now, no disqualification. I'm going to beat the hell out of you. But probably will say more.
What is going to be interesting is All Out Week. Now, because bear in mind, All In, obviously on August the 27th at Wembley. We got news on that coming up in just a second. The following week, you then got Dynamite on the Wednesday, Rampage on the Friday, Collision on the Saturday, and All Out on the Sunday, right?
So and then when are we having AEW Shake It All About? Because we've got All In, All Out, All In, All Out.
You put your left arm in, your left arm out, all in, all out. You shake it all about. Never doing that again. But do you know what I mean? At that point, you're looking at 4 hours for All In, 4 hours for All Out, 2 hours for Dynamite, 2 hours for Collision. That's 12, and then 1 hour for Rampage. That's 13 hours of All Elite within the space of 2 weeks. Well, that's actually not even. That's actually not even taking into account Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision of the week of All In, which is still happening.
Also, the pay-in that goes before show.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to worry about that because we're going to be there. See.
I know, but the other ones, it's just going to get too much. It's like WrestleMania week over again.
I think we might take a week off.
I felt like I had my laser eye surgery was going to go backwards. I thought I was going to have to wear glasses again after all of that. That's what I honestly felt. I was like, this is too much.
You know what it is, don't you? They're going all in for it, but we're going to be all out by the time it's finished. Right. Talking about All In, we're going to talk more about All In over the next few weeks. We are literally now on the road to Wembley. Still, however, no matches announced for All In. I'm still getting a little bit concerned now that it's becoming a house show, although it did get mentioned on TV by Mr. CM Punk on Saturday night. But one person we know who won't be at All In, at least in an in-ring capacity, is Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter returning in 2023 is now considered unexpected. So at Double or Nothing, Toni Storm defeated Hayter to win the Women's Championship. Heading into the bout, there were questions regarding if she would even compete due to undisclosed injuries. Obviously, Jade Cargill is taking time off. We don't know if she's coming back. But the Wrestling Observer newsletter is now reporting that Jamie Hayter making her return to the AEW in 23 is highly, highly unlikely. And I feel so bad and so sorry for Jamie. Because, I know her pretty well. I've worked with her before in UPW and a few other promotions. She is so passionate about this business. And she's such a young girl, but with such an old head on her shoulders. Such a mature head on her shoulders, and the growth that she has done since joining AEW back in 2019, 2020, from the work in Stardom, from the work on the indie scene, getting herself in amazing ring shape, and
Well,
this relationship with Britt Baker, she's done amazingly well. But I also feel sorry for the Outcast because that's kind of turned that storyline on its head. That's kind of done.
yeah, it was flowing so well, and then because of that, proof that one like injury can completely change the landscape and course of a thing. Because I honestly believe the way it was going forward is what we discussed before, and I'm sure we'll discuss again. It was going to be, I keep saying Paige, I mean Saraya. I always thought it was going to be Saraya versus Jamie at Wembley. I thought that was what we were going to get. I felt like we were going to get someone else and Willow Nightingale for the TBS title. I thought that's how it was going. I feel that's not going to be the case now, and it's really, really, really sad. But obviously, we can't change someone's injury and that lot. I'd love to be able to fix her like that and get a better, because I think she's an incredible. I said on the show previously as well. I've had like not run-ins, but I've been able to be linked to her for different reasons, and I feel so gutted and downhearted at the fact that she's had to go through that. And it's the one thing I also felt when I was discussing this with one of my friends is that she also was another one she was great all round. She wasn't just great in the ring. She wasn't just great on the mic. She was both. And it's such a loss, going back to what we're saying about the women's division, such a loss. But the fact that she's not going to be able to perform in her country, I really hope All In, or just AEW in total, comes back to England to do live shows, not just house shows, live shows, and she's able to be involved.
I think after seeing the success of All In terms of the ticket sales, that's pretty much a guarantee. I mean, I was just thinking about what they're going to do with the women's division, and you made a really good reference relating to the TBS championship. Now, I predict that it's going to be Saraya versus Chris Statlander for the TBS
Ooh.
championship, Tony Storm facing off against Willow Nightingale, or Britt Baker for the AEW women's belt. Both of them win, then you put the Outcasts back on top.
Yeah, I like that. Love
You know,
that.
you've then got the Outcasts, and that's how you bring them back into the storyline. So
Yeah.
now the faces are trying to go after the belt, but we'll do that. Last bit of news before we move on. We've been chatting quite a lot.
Yeah.
The one downside of doing a podcast, we haven't got to look at the time anymore. All In itself is now confirmed to be on pay-per-view in the US. It's going to be running at around the $50 price tag. Now, that is a bit worrying because the following week, as we've already said, is All Out.
Yeah.
Which again is on pay-per-view. Not sure that's the best decision for All Elite at this moment in time. There's still no word yet on how it's going to be airing here in the UK. There was talk at one point about it airing live on ITV, but
One thing I saw was it was going to go live on ITV4.
yes, but that
Because
doesn't
obviously,
seem to have materialized
yeah,
yet.
I thought it was very well. I find everything about All In all very interesting because, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But the fact that we are now we're recording this on the 2nd of August, 25 days time, we're going to be sat next to each other in Wembley Stadium for All In, but we don't know what matches we're watching. We don't know who's going to be on the show. We also don't know if we were at home how we're going to watch it, and I'm very surprised. And the one thing I find very interesting about agree with what you say, I just hope it doesn't become like a house show, is you made this big thing. You've got this big arena, or stadium, should I say. You've got these 80 plus fans there in attendance, but you haven't made any build to it. I'd understand if there was something else even bigger along the way or before then, but there isn't. There's no big show between now and then. The fact that you then have All Out only a week later, I don't think you need 2 pay-per-views back to back.
No, and that's worrying me because you're talking about the build. We've only got 4 weeks until All In. We've only got 4 weeks until All Out. You know, it's what.
I'd understand if it was at the Wembley Arena and it was
Yeah,
like, okay, it's like a
yeah,
show like we have when WWE comes to the O2 for a normal SmackDown or Raw, or when they go to Newcastle and they go to the arena there, or they go to Glasgow for the SSE Arena. I understand if it was like that. It's a weekly show, like Dynamite, Collision, or Rampage are being like But this is being built as a big pay-per-view, and then now they're putting a price of $50 for a pay-per-view.
which is
It's
standard price. That's standard
yeah,
price in the States. But bear in mind, the WWE model of the network paying $9.99 or whatever it is now in over there has broken that pay-per-view model because no one's going to pay $50. Now, what was reported last week as well was AEW Plus has been registered, which is rumored to be the streaming service for All Elite. Brilliant, great, get that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope from this week on Dynamite 200, we start getting some build because I think fans here in the UK are going to start getting, or people already are. There's a journalist called Stephanie Chase who does a YouTube show as well, who's literally come out and called Tony Khan out and said, "Where are the matches?
yeah.
What's going on? Why
Oh,
are we not? We are on track. They are just at the hairline of becoming the most attended wrestling event in history,
yeah.
right? We're part of history, whatever happens on August the 27th. But it would be good to know uh, who's going to be there. Because my concern is we were all predicting the fact we were going to get a title switch, MJF, Adam Cole. I don't see that happening at Wembley.
So I just counted. If they were to do a show of Collision on the Saturday, the day before, which I don't think they will be doing.
No.
If they did a show of Rampage on the 25th, I don't know if they'd be doing. It all depends on travel side of stuff. If I count it correctly, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 12 shows. So if we take away Collision and Rampage, that means we have 10 shows between now and All In at Wembley Stadium on the 27th of August, which we will be there for. If we haven't mentioned it 10,000 times already, we will be mentioning it every time. But that's 10 shows to put things. I don't want it to be a cluster flush and we're just chucking matches at it. But also, I then don't want it to affect All Out and have it that we have. Why do we need matches the following week?
It is a catch-22 situation. It's
Yeah,
very
real
unusual
catch
booking.
22.
Just to go back to your point about Collision, they are going to be doing a Collision the weekend and a Rampage because they have to as part of the network contracts, but they're going to be filmed at the conclusion of Dynamite.
Oh,
So
clever.
yeah, so they're doing the old Raw style tapings where they tape 2 or 3 episodes. They're already doing tickets for it now. They'll do Dynamite, then they're going to do Collision, then they're going to do Rampage, which will be interesting seeing them change the set for Collision because it's a totally different set to Dynamite.
Or for that week, they'll just have one plain set, and it would just be the Great Britain flag.
Wait,
The Union Jack just drapes down.
I'm going to be intrigued to
to
see what they do.
It to go underneath it.
I'm going to be intrigued to see what they do for the stadium area at All In. It's going to be, and that's one of the things I'm looking for.
Our seats we can see perfectly, so we will be putting up on our social media great pictures from it because we'll be able to do it. We may be up in the gods, but we'll still take amazing photos.
I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on, shall we? Because we spent a long time talking about the news. We are going to go to a very quick break. When we come back, it's Road to 5-star. See you in a second. New music for 5-star. Right, so let's have a look at last weekend's NXT Great American Bash. Now, it did take place on Sunday. We're not going to go blow by blow. We're not going to do that, but we are going to give you our opinions on what is quite possibly one of the best NXT cards in recent memory. I don't think there was a match bar one that let me down. I think we all know which match let me
I
down.
know what that'll be.
Yes. Let's kick off.
We'll get to that.
We will get to that. Let's kick off with the pre-show. So for those of you who don't know how Road to 5-star works, we will take an event, we will look at it, we'll talk about the matches, we'll give you some coverage, and we will score each match out of 5. At the end of that, we'll make a collective decision as to what the overall pay-per-view comes in at. And for this going forward, we've now brought in MVP of the show. Who is that one standout performer that really took it home? So let's going to kick off with the pre-show. It was Nathan Frazier, Dragon Lee, Yulisa Leon, and Valentina Perez facing off and defeating Meta 4 Now, prediction league, we both got this totally wrong. We both went for Meta 4. I thought this was a really good way to kick off the pre-show and
Oh
to
yeah,
kick off the pay-per-view. Nathan Frazier, I mean, he's all over the place. He was flipping and
amazing.
diving and
Just so amazing. He was the prime example of you can tell who trained him. You could
yes.
tell that he is a Seth Rollins guy, like amazing. And this whole match, all 8 performers, all 8 wrestlers, incredible. I'm a massive Noam Dar fan. I'm also a massive Oliver Carter, who's now Aurore Monsieur, if I pronounce that right. I never pronounce his new name right. It's weird. I like Oliver Carter. It's perfect.
See, that's why
But
I just called it Metaphor on
yeah,
the show
so
plan.
metaphor. But the 2 men in metaphor, how are individually so amazing. To put them together, amazing. The 2 women in metaphor are amazing. So putting them together are amazing. And then you have these 2 reasonably new female wrestlers of you,
Ulisa
Ulisa.
Leon.
Oh, what a treat! What an absolute treat! She knows how to get around at that ring, doesn't she? And Valentina, can I just appreciate when she first was shown in NXT? I did think they're just going to use her as a valet. It's going to be it's another valet. What we don't need. No. She showed that why she's there. But then we go Dragon Lee. I have a big, 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 big fanship for Dragon Lee. I have done prior to WWE, but now he's in NXT. Oh my golly gosh. Him being with Nathan Frazier, wow.
As a
That's
tag team,
why that they need to be a tag team. For the time being, they should be a tag team going
yeah,
forward, just to help both of them.
that's tag team champions right there. You
Yeah.
know, them against the family would be great. But we're obviously seeing Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio going into a program now, which is I'm up for that because I actually love Dirty Dom. I think Dirty Dom has come on, but we'll touch on Dirty Dom in a second. Nathan Frazier, Dragon Lee for me were the 2 MVPs of this entire contest. But again, like I said earlier on, it was what they needed to kick it off. It got the crowd hot, and there was a line, I think it was by Vic Joseph in commentary, who turned around and went, "Majority of these performers have never been on a premium live event before." Now, forget the experience. Dragon Lee, we know is experienced. Noam Dar, we know is experienced. But these guys going into Texas, going into a PLE on the network, on Peacock, in front of those fans, not in the Performance Center. They knocked it out of the park, and there's big things for all of them. What are you going to give it out of 5? What's your 5-star?
For me, I gave that a 3.5 out of 5 because I thought it was really, 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 really good. This is no offense to metaphor, but I felt if it was a metaphor win, I think it would have been a 4-star because of the outcome. It made it go down a bit.
Okay,
I'm a massive metaphor fan. I'm a fan of all 4 of
yeah,
those
okay.
members. So, but all in all, great match. It was a good start of the show, but it wasn't a barn burner.
Mm.
And I'm looking for barn burners to make me give a 4.5 5-star.
Well, we got some barn burners coming up.
We have.
I gave it a 3. Um, Again, good way to kick it off. I really enjoyed it. It got me pumped, but I always find with the kickoff that I'll watch the kickoff match and then I'll fast forward onto the main show. So it's like if you'd put it on the card, I may have given it a 3.5 instead of kickoff, but it was a good way to kick it off. Right, we move into the main show. Now, we're not doing these in show order. We will do the main event, but let's kick off. Oh, let's kick off with the debut. Baron Corbin, new music, new look, broken
Yes.
hips. Don't get that.
Love
Uh,
it. I personally love it.
Facing off against Gable Stevenson, who the crowd turned on so quickly.
Yeah, that's my time to leave. Um,
You're
oh,
not Angle, Chance. What did they expect? Did they seriously learn nothing from the Kurt Angle experiment back at the beginning of the 2000s, right? You bring someone out, you showcase the fact that they're an Olympic gold medalist. Even the Titantron and the promo VT was a heel. right? What are you
Yep.
going to do? The crowd are not going to sit there and go, "Yay! Look, we got an Olympic gold medalist! Woohoo!" They're going, "I don't crap," because of the fact, why are you here?
Right. 3 things I've got about Gable Stevenson. 1, he in the draft, not this year, but last year, was drafted to Raw. Where have you been?
It's
You
developmental.
Oh no, but then also reports, has he even been there? There was reports that he hasn't even been like there to training and stuff like that. He is reported to not actually be overly loved backstage, but yet his brother is. Damien Kemp, his brother, is loved. Like that should be in the match. Baron Corbin versus Damien Kemp. That's what it should have been. But I agree with the fans. You're not Kurt Angle. And then secondly, this whole lead up to this match, it made really, for me, no sense.
No.
And that's no offense against Baron Corbin. I'm a fan of Baron Corbin. We talked about previously on shows and that lot. I found it slightly interesting how they're going with him, especially this sort of like throwing stuff in the fire, blah, blah. And you come out kind of like what you previously were. I was expecting a completely different look, like what's called the trunks and stuff like that. I come back to the old, I was thinking he was going to look like old school, like Austin, and being like just a boots, knee pad, like trunks. That's it. No, he comes out pretty much like he did when there was the Lone Wolf or the King and stuff like that. This match got a 2 out of 5 for me.
Oh, I didn't even get that high for me.
And do you know how it's got 2?
No.
It's 2 words or a name. Baron Corbin. If it wasn't Baron Corbin, it would mean a 0.
You see, I'm not a fan of.
I felt it was rushed at points, some parts of the match. It was almost like something had went wrong that we don't know about, we haven't seen about. And Gable just, I just know, like, there's the door, go out of it. Don't waste our time. You're not good. You're not clever.
Unfortunately, I did give it a 0.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin at all. I think the guy's overrated for what he is, and conflict coming in. But I think he's.
That's healthy for a podcast when you're talking
Oh
about the
yeah, yeah,
square
yeah,
circle.
absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I don't think he's that good. I don't think I don't rate him at all. Gable Stevenson, I've got no time for. I mean,
No.
amateur wise, tremendous. Yeah, full credit to him. Well
Yeah.
done, Olympic gold medalist. Amazing.
Kudos.
I'm not bothered about that. They've not done anything to sell Gable Stevenson to me.
No.
And this was the one, I think I even said it in the preview show last week. This will be the one where I go out and get a cup of coffee. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I watched it, wished I hadn't, and then paused it, went and got a cup of coffee, and just went, never again will I have to watch this match. So it got 0 out of 5 for me. We also got it wrong because the booking made no sense. You would think on a debut, if they're trying to put this rocket under Gable Stevenson's backside, you'd think they would give him the win, right? Make him look dominant. No, it went to a draw. It went to a double. Was it DQ? What, double DQ? Double count?
Yeah.
It went to something and a pull
One of
apart.
the one of the what's it called, the guards got an elbow to the face from Gable Stevenson, and it didn't look a pretty one.
No,
It looked like a square shot. Like, I'm shocked we haven't seen pictures of Rise of the guy with a black eye.
it was just
a proper bush.
yeah. It was just weird. It was a terrible.
So
Anyway, so you've given it 2. I've given it none. No points on the prediction league. Let's never talk about this match again.
no.
And if it's ever on another pay per view, we will just not touch it. Period.
With a bars pole.
With a no. Next up. Yay. This was match of the night for me. Weapons
Oh.
Wild, Roxanne Perez, Blair Davenport, otherwise known as B. Priestley. I've loved the build up to this one. I've loved the storyline to this one. I loved the fact that Roxy came out, gave her mum a hug, her sister a hug, and then got attacked at ringside by Blair Davenport. We have seen a totally different Blair Davenport since returning to the NXT roster and moving up from NXT UK. Again, you look at B. Priestley, the worker behind it, relatively young. She's a veteran, yes, but she was really green only 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now she's up there. Roxy, you can see why she's a former NXT champion. You can see why Blair Davenport's a former NXT UK champion. They left nothing out. This was 5 out of 5.
Okay. Can I bring up one thing about Roxanne Perez?
Of course you can.
Before ROH, Ring of Honor ROH closed, before it was then picked up by AEW, she was the last women's champion when she was Rox C.
Yeah.
And back then I said she's going to do big things when she signs for WWE. So she signed for WWE. And she has done big things. And this match was superb. This match gets a 4 out of 5. It's not match of the night for me. There's another match where I think we're about to talk about next, which is the match of the night. But by golly gosh, and that's my saying for this show, by golly God, just amazing. These two girls would let, or women, ladies, whatever to say, they were let to go out there and do what they want. And you could tell that. It was almost like, right, I feel Booker T was involved with the whole planning of this match. Obviously, Roxanne is one of his protégés, but there was little moments on the commentary. I was a bit like, oh, you already know what's about to happen, young man, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't hold punches. They did not hold things. They were going hell for leather. And I said, yes, please. I want that again. I want to watch that match again. I would love to watch them not give up this storyline. I want them to, like, let's have another match. Let's have another match.
Oh, I don't think this is over. I don't think this is over by a long shot. And I hope it's not.
No, and I also, another thing I loved on the build-ups, it's completely polar opposite, like so polar opposite. It's the Antarctic. Like, literally, you went from Baron Corbin versus Gable Stevenson, 0 to none build-up, compared to Roxanne Perez versus Blair Davenport. You have Booker versus Stone Cold in the shop, part 2, but it's Roxanne versus Blair, and they're in a I think it was a gas station. It's just superb. I love that build up, and you were almost going, what's going to happen in this match? And then they made it a Weapons Wild match. Love that terminology. Love that name. That needs to be used in the main roster instead of, oh, I'm just going to call it a street fight. No, Weapons Wild match. I love it. It's like the Monsters Ball. I love that name. Like those different unique names. I love this match. That's why I got a 4 out of star. This is why I'm going to be showing it to people when they want to watch a females match. Just superb.
Okay, you liked it then. There we go. How can you follow that up? I think the only thing, and you touched on the Booker T aspect of it, I think they're selling this Roxanne Perez Booker T relationship slightly too far now. I think it was great when she won the NXT Women's Championship, but now drop it. However, I will say this, she is rapidly becoming one of my favorite women performers, not just in NXT, but in women's wrestling. Roxy, as you said in Ring of Honor, was tremendous. There was a lot of controversy about her signing with WWE and people saying she was going to be ruined. They weren't going to book her right. But I think actually they've done the complete opposite. They've booked her amazingly well. So full congratulations to Perez and Davenport. Now, Prediction League, I got it right because you went with Blair.
I was trying to go with the homegrown girl.
That's Roxanne Perez.
No. Not for us.
Oh, not from the UK. All right. Well, she's from New Zealand anyway. Right. Next up, NXT.
She spent so much of her youth in England. So I'm taking her as a homegrown girl. It's just like Andy Murray. We say he's British. No, he's Scottish.
We don't say anything about Andy Murray. Now we did the same. We did the same thing for the next match. Both of us went with the UK's Gallus. It was the NXT Tag Team Championship. The family defeated Gallus to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. It was the opening contest of the pay-per-view. I will be honest with you. I did not expect it. I honestly thought Gallus were going to be walking out as the NXT champions. But it was a solid match, and they've continued the storyline in the last 24 hours on NXT as we're recording this. So we know it's not over between Gallus and the family. I only gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. It was good. I know. It was good, but I'm not the biggest fan of the family. And I expected Gallus to go over. I mean, it really... Wolfgang is a monster. He is done... Again, amazing. Mark Coffey, another one who has done a tremendous job. And when you think about the fact that these guys have come from NXT UK to the NXT main roster, and are taking it by storm. It's really showing how good NXT UK was and how good NXT Europe is going to be when that
Yeah.
ever eventually launches.
So this match gets 4.5. This was match of the night for me. I'm a massive Gaz fan, and I've said to you privately, I'm a massive Joe Coffey fan. I'm also a fan of Mark Coffey, because when Mark Coffey was part of Polo Promotion in ICW, Wolfgang, amazing in ICW. The guy's got massive hands, and I say that because I've got massive hands myself. When I shook his hand when he was coming to the ring, one of the shows I went to for the ICW, he shakes it, and I was like, "Oh, you are basically I've lost my hand. Where's it gone?" Like, amazing, and like the thing for me with this whole match, I'm a massive Tony D'Angelo fan. I'm also a massive Channing Lorenzo, as in Stacks. Like, I love the fact they brought back his name instead of just calling him Stacks. I hated the fact it was just Stacks. Like, I love that. The fact they... Why are you laughing at so much?
Every time I hear that name, Channing Stacks, I just want to call him Channing Tatum.
Yeah, no,
I don't know why. I don't know
I do
why.
feel Lorenzo. I like it. I don't think the Channing works. It needs to be like Dino or something like that. Like
Lorenzo Stack.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that would even work. Lorenzo Stacks. That'd be cool. But I think it would have been a 4-star if Gallus won. I love Gallus and I wanted them to win. It's what I put in the prediction league. Amazing. The fact that we had a completely swerve that no one was expecting, because even like social media, that everyone was voting like in the polls saying Gallus are retaining, Gallus are winning this. And I said I thought Stacks was going to screw Tony over. But the reason why it was 4.5 was the fact of that completely swerve, that massive surprise that we both have said on previous shows. We love a good old swerve where we're literally like, whoa, where did that come from? Amazing. And I loved the interaction where we had Joe Coffey coming up to the coming up to the apron with the baton thing. I loved that. It was a whole new, it just felt fresh. It didn't feel like we've watched this match before or we've seen this feud before. It was fresh, and that's what we want from wrestling.
I think that was the whole thing about the card, though, wasn't it? The whole card felt fresh. So NXT Tag Team titles, the family went over Gallus. We can now go and new
Tag Team Champions of NXT.
That's my my best Dan Barnsley impression, right there. Right, okay. Coming up next is the NXT North American Championship. It's triple threat action. Dirty Dom, Mustafa Ali, and Wesley. Now, I understand this is real backstage stuff right now, that Sam needs to get a power cable. So Sam can run off and get the power cable, and I'll talk a little bit about the triple threat NXT match. This is what happens when you're recording a show as live. This is where we go. Dirty Dom, Rhea Ripley, Mustafa Ali, and Wesley came out and let everything bar the kitchen sink in this one. It was a tremendous match, one that I think really has kind of shown what Dominic Mysterio can do. Not just within. Oh, okay. Not just within. Sam's disappeared on the stream. Not just by being a heel or by being a bad guy, but he can actually work. And when you mix that in with the athletic ability of Wesley and the ability of Mustafa Ali, who has really changed a lot since coming to the NXT main roster, you are guaranteed to get an absolute barn buster. Now, the end of the match, for those of you who haven't seen it, was Rhea Ripley getting involved, smacking the the WWE Women's World Championship onto the head of Wesley. Dominic Mysterio got the win. I'm giving this one 4.5 out of 5. Some would say it wasn't the best match, but I think Mustafa Ali and Wesley brought the work rate. Dominic Mysterio brought the natural heat. I mean, you talk about heel heat. He's got X-Pac level heat. He's got Sean Waltman.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah. Like, this match, superb. I got it a 4 out of 5 star. Like, it was really, really good. Didn't beat the tag team match. I'm a massive Wesley fan. I have been since prior to WWE. I have always been a fan of his. The fact, and obviously the controversy that went on about his previous tag team partner. I'm going to say this in the nice possible way. People may disagree, but Wesley was the best part of the Rascals. He was a better part of MSK. For me, he is future headliner. I honestly believe he's got the mic skills, he's got the in-ring talent. He is the smaller guy, yes, but by God, does he swing with a hard punch. Then you have Mustafa Ali, who on this week's NXT last night, he said a line about being disrespected. You don't like being disrespected? I've been trying being disrespected for the last 6 years. And I agree. He has not been given the opportunities that he's supposed to be. Like, he'd bring characters upon characters, or gimmicks upon gimmicks, or storyline upon storyline to the creative, and they'd be like, yeah, no. But he does it. And then we have Dirty Dom. I have said on previous shows I'm not a fan of Dirty Dom, but his work currently, I'm loving. I'm loving this whole being in NXT. I'm loving him with the whole fact that we've got Rhea involved. I like that. I think it's hilarious to see what's happening next. What happens next? I feel even if the Judgment Day fail and they fall apart, they disband that lot, having him and Rhea linked to each other, that just needs to carry on. And for so long, I felt, oh, it's just Eddie and China once again. Oh, yeah. But it feels like something new.
Oh,
like
it's
I said about, no, I feel like it's like the tag team match that I said about how I love the freshness of it. They're bringing something so fresh, so new. And the fact that every once in a while, she said, instead of saying dirty, so she says Daddy Dom. It's quite funny. And it's playing on the fact that we have this whole mummy daddy culture when it's just weird. And we don't want to talk about it on a family friendly show. But I think for me, I like it. It's something fresh and new. And the way they work so well. Dom needed this before Judgment Day. I wanted him to leave the door. I wanted him to do a Gable Stevenson, given his green slip and say goodbye. Like, I didn't want him, or pink slip, whatever they call it, for when someone's fired in America. But I felt like, oh, just please leave. Then he joined Judgment Day. I was like, okay. And I was really worried. And I said this on a previous podcast, not that wasn't the Squared Circle.
What?
And I said about how was that?
What? You on a different podcast?
On a previous podcast. But I said on a previous podcast that I felt like I was really worried him joining Judgment Day. Oh, and I was wrong. But then this match shows I was worried. I always get worried when it's a triple threat match, when you've got 3 completely different characters, because who's going to try and be the dominant one? I didn't feel like there was one dominant one in particular.
No, I totally agree with you.
I love that. Yeah, I love the fact it flowed perfectly.
I totally agree with you. I think you could definitely see the veterans and the more ring generals were Wesley and Mustafa Ali, which was great because that gave them what they needed. That gave them the showcase. But Dom I mean, think about it. It's almost a year. It was Clash of the Castle where the heel turn pretty much was solidified. He has had a stellar year and he has grown so much. And you're right, the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley, this relationship is tremendous. It is one of the best things in WWE at the moment. And I like the fact that they haven't really touched on the whole Rey Mysterio angle since WrestleMania up until last night on NXT, where we now know he's going to be in the corner of Dragon Lee. I like that because it's given Dom a chance to kind of step out of that shadow of Ray.
He needed. And
which is what he needed.
Only thing now needs is, if he's going to have a mullet, he needs to really cut those sides. Because at the moment, he looks dirty in the form of he hasn't washed instead of dirty being dirty.
Well, I'll tell you what will happen, right? If he carries on growing the mullet, when him and Ripley eventually do split, his new theme music will be "Achy Breaky Heart" and he'll be sung to the ring by Billy Ray Cyrus. So it'll be Master of the Mullet.
No, it'll be that moment where we'll have a moment where he'll shave it off and he'll be like, no, I can't be with it. It reminds you of her.
Oh God, no.
Right. He'd be a good one to be in a hair match.
He would be, actually.
And Rhea just completely losing her mind, but the ringside going, no. Oh
she shaves it. She shaves it.
Oh my God, yes.
We both predicted Dirty Dom. I think we had to predict Dirty Dom to retain this one, so we both got a point.
My only point of the whole show.
Yes, it was actually. Moving on, NXT Women's Championship submission match. Tiffany Stratton defending and defeating Thea Hale. After Andre Chase threw the towel in, um, I'm in two minds about this one because I love the storyline of Thea Hale becoming the youngest ever NXT Women's Champion. I thought that was great. I think she's done really well within Chase U. However, I think the Chase U faction as a whole has come to a natural conclusion. And I think we've seen that at the Great American Bash. Tiffany Stratton, however, is a future main roster performer, but she's too much a Mandy Rose for me. It's kind of like and I know it's a different character, and I know it's not Toxic Attraction, etc., etc. But I think when Mandy Rose got released, that was a good step in for Tiffany Stratton. She's very similar body shape, very similar in a lot of different areas. If Mandy Rose, family show, if Mandy Rose was still on the was still on the NXT roster, I don't think you would see Tiffany Stratton in this position.
No, I agree. I do agree. I think they would have completely done a different course with her, like maybe a completely different character and stuff. I'm going to touch on something that I find hilarious, but the Barbie movie.
Oh my god, no!
I like the fact they slightly like alluded to that, like the fact of her attire, the ring entrance,
Yeah,
stuff like that. I thought it was brilliant. They missed a opportunity there. They could have had Thea Hale come out like Oppenheimer, like as in like wearing black and stuff like that. I'm just saying it's Barbenheimer. But no, I gave this match a 4 out of 5 star. It was really good. And I like the storyline of the fact of like the throwing in the towel. And then last night, then Thea trying to throw in the towel against for Andre. Are we seeing that there's going to be a heel turn by one of the two out of Chase U? I don't know, because I don't think either of them should turn heel. Very, very good match. I'm gutted, absolutely gutted, especially with the build-up to this match about how good Thea was doing with her submissions. I was like, yeah, cool. And then I was a bit like, oh, she didn't win it because of that. Like, but I like the fact that we thought she was going to win. Well, I thought she was going to win because of the submission angle of it, and that Tiffany wasn't going to win. But then it was like, oh, okay. Didn't feel fresh like the other matches, and there were points that was a bit like that. But I'm going to be kudos to Tiffany. That moonsault. All I'm going to say, I sent a picture to Andy about it, but I honestly feel like she spent time with Charlotte Flair. A lot of her in-ring ability reminds me of a young Ashley Flair, who we now know as Charlotte Flair. I felt like I was watching Charlotte Flair back in her NXT days with parts of Tiffany's like performancing, and it's amazing.
I was about to say that's not a bad thing. You know, Charlotte Flair gets a lot of heat. That's not a bad thing. That's a
I
good
will
thing.
never give that woman heat. I have got so much love and admiration for her. What I'm saying is, you could tell at points that maybe they've had a bit of time or even just discussion, because there was points that I'm like, if that's going to be our future Charlotte Flair, amazing. I feel she is main event worthy in the form of in the future on the main roster. Not saying straight away, and that was another thing. Like, I wanted Thea to win because I'm a massive Thea fan. However, I do agree with you about the whole Tiffany winning would be too soon. It would be too fast. You've only just given her the title. Don't take it off her straight away. We're not playing hot potato again.
Yeah.
It's not like that again. But where does it leave? What happens next? Who knows? And that's what I like. Where are we going to go with the women's NXT title? Who knows? And I like that.
I don't mind continuing a program with Thea Hale and Tiffany Stratton, because we know as well that the face trying to chase for the championship is what draws, right? And the payoff. So the next match could be we've done a Thea Hale type of match. Now it's going to be a Tiffany Stratton Gucci on a pole match.
What?
I don't know, whatever. But then
you're going to get
another. You're going to get another match out of this, I think, and eventually, maybe at No Mercy, you'll get that title switch. I don't know.
September 30th.
September 30th. It wasn't ready for Thea Hale Didn't take anything away. This kid's 19 years old. We talked about Roxanne Perez, who's 21, 22, having a bright future. If this is what NXT can produce, then,
And do you know who Thea Hell trains with?
nope.
There's someone who we discussed earlier on. Nathan Frazier. Why? They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and they train non-stop when they're not in the ring. When they're not they're constantly in the performance center together, and you can tell. You can tell because they are both so strong, and it's amazing.
Wow. Brilliant. All right, moving on. NXT Championship main event. Carmelo Hayes defeated Ilya Dragunov. Neither of us got the point. We both thought Dragunov was going to win. This was a 5 out of 5. I mean, this was just incredible. Do you not agree?
It was amazing. It doesn't get a 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow.
It's not match of the night. It gets joint with match of the night of 4.5. I just wanted more, and I think that Ilya losing made it not a 5-star.
Yeah, I would have liked Ilya to have won. I'm not going to lie, but I think we're definitely. Yeah,
I love the whole Trick Williams with the belt situation. That yes, he didn't hit him over the head. He dived into it, isn't like almost defensing. But I love the continuation of using Trick Williams. I love that. But I was a bit like, but not match of the night, but joint match of the night. Point-wise, if that makes sense. Like that and the Gallus and family tag team match both get 4.5. But if I had to pick out the two, who's the better better match? It would be this. It would be the tag team match. However, the MVP of the whole show would be Ilya.
Okay, intriguing,
incredible, so good.
See,
so good.
My MVP of the entire show would be Roxanne Perez.
Nice. No, and well deserved.
I think she was amazing. I mean, this Ilya Dragunov, I was genuinely surprised they didn't give him the win. But then, a bit like Tiffany Stratton, it's very soon to take the title off Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah. I can agree.
Especially when you think about how long Bron Breakker held the NXT title for. I mean, it's a Roman Reigns situation, isn't it? That made Carmelo Hayes by defeating Bron Breakker. Whoever defeated him was going to get some sort of a run. He's not going to get the run of the same length, but to lose it in the first couple of title defenses after winning it doesn't really sit
be harmful.
Right. However, saying that, Dragunov has shown he is main event.
Oh yeah, and
if there was any doubt, and main roster. Okay, so we've given our matches, we've given our ratings out of a 5. As a collective, then, what will we rate the pay-per-view out of 5? So, 2 4.5, 2 5s. 4.5, I would agree. 4.5 out of 5 for the NXT Great American Bash. SummerSlam has got a lot to live up to.
I'm sure we're going to see some interesting turnouts for that, but we'll discuss that in just a bit.
Interesting turnouts. All right. Okay, so Prediction League, I got 3 and Sam got 1. We'll use on the Prediction League coming up. It's SummerSlam preview in just a second. Right, we're going to go to a very quick break. When we come back, it's going to be challenge, and Sam is going to be challenging me on Who Am I? Oh, God. Here we go. Hang on, where's the video? There it is. Right, we'll be back in a sec. Okay, Sam, challenge time. Over to you. Oh, I haven't changed the background. Come
on. So, I was born on April the 1st, 1980 in Knoxville, Tennessee, and made my debut 20 years later.
Okay, no idea.
Okay. I currently tie with The Undertaker for the most amount of SummerSlam appearances.
No.
Okay. At the age of 24, I became the youngest world champion in WWE history.
Randy Orton.
Correct. My other two clues were I like to come out of nowhere with my legacy of my evolution. And the last one is I am the apex predator.
Oh, that would have given it away.
Yeah. So, one thing about that though, he currently ties at 16 appearances at SummerSlam alongside The Undertaker. If he was to turn up this Sunday, which we'll discuss about, he would be the most. He would appearances.
He would have the most appearances. Sam just disappeared off the screen there.
And so did you. Yeah, would be the most amount of appearances in WWE SummerSlam history.
Wow. Well, let's find out in just a second whether or not. Well, not in just a second. We're going to have to find out on Saturday night, but we'll talk about it in just a second. Thanks, Sam. That was Who Am I? Okay, let's go. Where am I going? I'm up here. Let's have a quick look back in wrestling history before we hit SummerSlam, and then we're going to do the SummerSlam preview. Are we ready to rewind? Hey, that's good. I've not actually seen that. I only did that just before we came on to record. That's quite cool. I like that one. All right. This week in wrestling history, we're going to pick out a couple of key moments for what's happened in, well, wrestling history. I kind of stuck myself into a bit of a catch-22 on that one. Right. Kicking off with this. On August the 2nd, 1992, Ron Simmons became the first African-American to win a major World Heavyweight Championship in wrestling when he defeated the Total Package Lex Luger to win the WCW World Heavyweight title in Baltimore in Maryland. And I mean, I remember watching that match, and you can watch it now on the WWE Network or on Peacock. I mean, it was incredible to watch, wasn't it?
Oh, so good. I didn't watch it live because I was a little kid, but I've watched it back on the network, and amazing. And the lineage and history of it was so amazing, and it's led on to people in the future since. Just so well deserving.
Absolutely. I mean, he was a groundbreaker. Now, talking about SummerSlam, on August the 7th, 1997, SummerSlam Heart and Soul took place at the Continental Airlines Arena in Rutherford, New Jersey. Now, the main event saw the WWE Hall of Famer Bret the Hitman Hart defeat the other WWE Hall of Famer, The Undertaker, for the WWE Championship. But the event is more well known as the night where Steve Austin suffered a career-altering broken neck in a match against Owen Hart, where he took a botched tombstone pile driver. Austin finished the match and won the IC Championship. So one of the 16 appearances by The Undertaker took place in 1997 at SummerSlam. And the last one on the right, August the 6th, 2007, Vince McMahon appeared back on Raw for the first time since the Who Killed Mr. McMahon angle was dropped. A battle royal was conducted that night, with the winner, one William Regal, being the new general manager of Monday Night Raw. There we go.
Yeah. Love it.
Well, that's it. That's Rewind. Right. We're going to crack open the event center. It's time to talk SummerSlam. All right, SummerSlam goes down live this Saturday on the WWE Network. You can also watch on Peacock in the USA. We're going to go through the matches, going to give you our preview and our predictions. Now, the Prediction League is changing this year. We are restarting it as of now. We're going to be running SummerSlam to SummerSlam. The winner will be the person who gets the most points. By the time we hit SummerSlam 24, we'll win some sort of a prize. I don't know what it is. We're also going to put how many out of 5 they get on Road to 5-star. And then we'll do something with you guys to work out which is the top pay-per-view across all companies by the time we hit SummerSlam 24. Right, let's kick it off. Slim Jim Battle Royal. It's the SummerSlam Spectacular. All we know is LA Knight.
Yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura, Sheamus, Otis, and a few other people are going to be involved. We know nothing else. What are we predicting for this one? Who do you think is going to go over?
I believe it is going to be an LA Knight moment. I think he deserves it. If not, Bronson Reed, but my prediction is LA Knight.
I
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I don't see how you can't go with LA Knight. Yeah, I mean, he is there. He's on course to get that push.
Yeah. Only unfortunate thing about this match, we're going to see Slim Jim marketing all around it. It's just
Of
going to
course
be
we
like
are.
the Churros Kuros match and the whatever that drink was match at
Mountain Dew,
WrestleMania. Oh
the lights out match. Yeah,
no,
the Mountain Dew
no,
lights out
no,
match.
no, thank you. But yeah,
How
that's my
many ti
prediction for that match.
how many times are you going to get somebody in this battle royal going snap into a Slim Jim, brother?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Right, we're going to predict these two because they are rumored to be taking place. We're not going to spend a lot of time on them. The WWE Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley defending against Raquel Rodriguez. It was teased on Monday Night Raw. Still waiting for the official announcement. I've gone Rhea Ripley on this one. I don't see how you could go any other way. Um, but Raquel Rodriguez does have a shot. It's going to be a massive fight between these two, both equally sized. What do you think?
Yeah, Rhea Ripley to win. If it happens, I hope, and no offense to Raquel, I want it to be a quick match. I'd even like it if Rhea was like dirty like Dom and DQ'd and like smacked her in the head with the belt or something like that because
Maybe,
it
maybe,
carries on her illness.
yeah, maybe Dom can get involved with
Yeah,
the NXT North American Championship. That'll be an intriguing one. Now, this next contest was rumored for SummerSlam. It was pretty much confirmed it was going to take place. But again, on Monday Night Raw, we found out it's now taking place in 2 weeks. But is it? We don't know yet. Becky Lynch, the man facing off against WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, um, with Zoe Stark in her corner. I got to be honest with you, I'm really not interested in this one.
no, neither am I. But I'm gonna predict Becky Lynch win. That's not just because I want Becky Lynch to win. I think she needs to. It's only right because of all the other like how it's
Yeah.
been going forward. I think if it's Trish win, it's almost like poo-pooing on what we talked about earlier on about the women's division situation. So yeah, I think it would be a massive poo-poo on the women's division, and that's me being polite at the family show.
No, I totally agree with you, and I get where you're coming from with this one. I've gone Becky Lynch as well. I just don't think you can give it any other way. All right, it's the Battle of MMA. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, the Battle of the Best Friends.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be this is only done in the list unless we have Becky versus Trish. I think for this it should have been like Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. This should have been a fight pit.
Yes.
It should have been in the fight pit.
Yeah.
And if this is Ronda's last match, it definitely should have been a fight pit match. We'll talk about more about that when we do the Road to 5-Star next week about SummerSlam. But I think this should be a Shayna Baszler win. I still stick to what I'm saying. She is going to be the Women's Royal Rumble winner of 2024. Let's wait and see if I actually get that prediction right. I've said it since WrestleMania this year. I'm going to see if that carries on.
Well, I've locked it in now, so it's already in.
Yeah, you locked it in. It's
I've
already in the
got that.
system. It's already in the paperwork. But I think this could be an absolute dud, or it could be completely surprising. We might be absolutely blown away. But do I see it being a long match? No. So my prediction is Shayna Baszler.
All right, I've gone Shayna Baszler as well. Next up, it's Prime versus Ricochet. It's the match sponsored by Amazon. It's Logan Paul facing off against Ricochet. I don't know if you can go anywhere else par Logan Paul for this one because what it has done is given Ricochet a main stage performance. It's given him a really good opportunity to kind of go out there and showcase what he can do. And it's been building since the Royal Rumble. I just don't think they're not going to put the win on Logan Paul.
No, I completely agree. Like this is a Logan Paul win.
Not a lot of saying said about that. Next up, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar 3, the rubber match. It's one apiece at the moment. One to Lesnar, one to Cody. This is the final one. Shall we just say it together on 3? 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes.
It doesn't need to be Brock. Brock doesn't need it. Brock is not that guy anymore where he has to win every match. And he makes that, and it's known that he is like that backstage. He doesn't feel like he needs to be winning every match. I think this needs to be a Cody win. If not, I think it does harm Cody. So
I was about to say, I think Cody needs this. He hasn't really had a good run since WrestleMania. I mean, he's had an intriguing run, but you've gone from being in the world title picture to facing Brock Lesnar in 3 matches, 3 pay-per-views, 3 matches, Dominic Mysterio at Money in the Bank. You need to get back in that title picture again, otherwise you're in trouble. And with the push of the documentary, it's definitely going to go Cody Rhodes.
I think it would harm also that the lead up to, because of the documentary, and then you have him lose. It doesn't work. But yeah,
no, totally agree. Intercontinental Championship on the line next. Gunther will defend against Scotland's own Drew McIntyre. I mean, this is the Battle of Europe here, isn't it? This is Germany versus the UK. I love Drew McIntyre. I've always loved Drew McIntyre, or Drew Galloway, whatever you want to call him. But they are not going to take the title off Gunther. He is going for that Honky Tonk Man record to be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. And
he hasn't been pinned since April last year.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to do it now. He's going all the way to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He has to.
453 days since being pinned.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty incredible.
That's an achievement. So I think we're both going with Gunther to retain.
And then we've got an absolute stonker coming up, I personally feel. But
World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins defending against the Judgment Day's Finn Balor. There is an X factor in this one, though. It's called Money in the Bank. This is the second match between these two. If it's anywhere near as good as what it was at Money in the Bank, we're in for a classic one here. I've gone Seth Rollins to retain. You have gone Finn Balor to win.
Yep.
Why?
So 2 reasons. One, Finn Balor winning it will be justice because of losing the. He obviously won the Universal title at SummerSlam a few years back, but obviously what happened. But I also think he will only win it because then straight away after the match he'll be raised hands alongside Damian Priest, and then Damian Priest will hit him, and then get the cash in, and then we'll see a face turn for Finn Balor, and Damian Priest carrying on being heel. Will it be the breaking of the Judgment Day, or will it just go down to the 3 of them? I don't know. But I feel leading up to it, the fact that Rhea has been, and Dom and Priest, all of them have been kind of getting annoyed at Finn. I think it should be, okay, he gets the win, amazing, and then he loses it straight away because Damian Priest wins it.
See, I'm going exactly the same way, but Seth Rollins retains, then Priest cashes in, and then you've got this dissension between the Judgment Day because Finn will say, you give me a title shot, Priest will say, no, you lost.
No, I like that. No, I like that.
So we're both also, for a bonus point, saying there's going to be a men's cash-in for Money in the Bank. Triple Threat Women's Championship, Asuka defending against Bianca Belair, no, and the Queen, Charlotte Flair. I've gone with Asuka to retain, but with a caveat. And that caveat is Io Sky cashing in Money in the Bank.
Yep.
I've gone for a double cash-in at SummerSlam. Now, the odds of that happening are relatively slim to none, but I've gone with it because I think they've been teasing Asuka versus Io Sky for a few weeks now. Asuka needs the win. Bianca Belair doesn't need the strap. Charlotte Flair doesn't need the strap, but Asuka does. Asuka wins. Io Sky cashes in. Asuka wins. Where are you going?
So Charlotte Flair wins. That adds another championship to her win. So then she can skip, because I think they're going to build to, unless injury gets in the way, I think they're building for her to beat her dad's score about the amount of championship holds.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. No, it's not. But I then think Io will then try and cash in, and Bayley will stop her and it will be a failed cash in, and that will be the breakup of damage control completely. It will turn Io completely face, and then we'll be going forward with a storyline of that. That will lead to then when Dakota Kai returns, she will then be either coming back as face to kind of like help the face of Io Sky, or she'll come back as a heel and attack her and help Bailey. Who knows? But that's how I feel. I think it's going to be one successful cash in, one failed cash in. But I think both cash in are happening at SummerSlam 2024.
I totally agree with you, and I've just realised I forgot to change the match graphics for every one of these matches. There we go. Right, main event time. Tribal Warfare, WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns defending against Jey Uso. Not only is it for the WWE Championship, it's also to be the Tribal Chief. This, I have had so much problems trying to call this match, but which way they're going to go, because I'm completely split. I can see them going either way. Reigns doing it, but Jey Uso pinned him at Money in the Bank. So I can see him having a real opportunity to win that championship. But then I go back to, are they going to drop 1,000 plus days to Jey Uso? I don't. I've gone Jey Uso, but I'm so torn. I'm going to be torn right the way up until match time.
And I'm exactly the same as you. Up until that bell, whatever the outcome of the match is, are we going to be right or are we going to be wrong? I don't know. The build of this match, I don't care who wins. And I mean, say that in a nice way, in the form of, if Roman wins, it's because we're going on for a longer reign for him, or Jey wins and it's a completely face turn for Roman, because I think that's where we're going with. I don't mind. And I've said I don't care. I don't mind. There's probably a better way instead of saying I don't care. But I don't mind who wins. I really don't. I'm not going to be angry either way. I want to score a point on the prediction league with a Jey win, but I really don't mind.
You know who's going to win? The fans.
Fans
are going to win. Right, that is it for this week. That's SummerSlam going down live at 1 a.m. on the WWE Network here in the UK, or watch it on Peacock in the USA. Just before we wrap up the show tonight, we're rapidly running way over time. Want to give a shout out to the show, Pro Wrestle Dorset, November the 4th, Genesis. Tickets are available now. Check it out on social media. I believe there is a match being announced again very soon.
It'll be match. So obviously we're recording this today. I don't know when we're planning to release this today. So it'll be announced tonight. So announced tonight on Tuesday, the Wednesday, the 2nd of August. It will be a really good match. I'm not going to say about it just yet, but we'll talk about it more on next week's show. But yeah, and then we've got a big announcement on next week's show, a match being announced. So yeah, keep tuning in, guys.
Amazing. Brilliant. And don't forget, if you hadn't realized, August the 27th at Wembley, we're going to be all in. And you can be there too and meet us as well if you would like to. We're looking forward to it. Sam, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been a cracker. It's been a great show. And we will see you next week. But until then, for Sam and for myself, we will see you at the matches. So long. Say later. Bye-bye.